one of the things that so many here in the region have been talking about in recent years is the nuclear programs being developed by the UAE and by Saudi Arabia as well. There were a lot of questions last year around this time about Saudi Arabia and whether they'd be granted a bypass of the 123 agreement, how that would all work out, and there was a lot of pushback on Capitol Hill at that time in terms of the safety of that, and there were worries about an arms race in this region. How does the Trump administration plan to tackle this going forward?
Well, we share your concern about an arms race in the Middle East. We were able in the Bush administration to negotiate a 123 agreement, a nuclear agreement with the UAE that we think is the model for the region.
Do you think you'll get Saudi Arabia to go with that model?
Well, we've had discussions with the Saudis about that. One of the biggest challenges we've had is the Iran nuclear deal, because that permits enrichment. And we don't think that Iran has earned the trust of the world to be enriching nuclear material. This is still the world's leading sponsor of terrorism.
So Saudi Arabia is basically saying, listen, if they're going to be enriching and you're not controlling that, then we need to have that same opportunity.
It would be a lot easier to have a discussion with the Saudis if we did not have the flawed Iran nuclear deal as the last non-proliferation agreement. When we had the agreement with the Emirates, that's a great model. So it is very challenging. It's one of the many reasons why the Iran nuclear deal is a bad deal and why the president decided to leave it in May. We want to get to a new and better deal. The secretary has made clear that we don't believe that Iran should enrich. If they have a truly peaceful nuclear program, they do not need to enrich.
Talk me through what happened over the last few days with the Secretary of State Pompeo's visit to Iraq. What were you able to accomplish there?
Well, I've been with the Secretary now on we're going to 9 nations on this trip to the Middle East. He had a very successful visit both in Baghdad and in Erbil. Very good meetings there. We discussed, obviously we discussed Iran. We discussed the state of our bilateral relationship with Iraq, government formation, and we always have very strong and very good relations. And our team in Baghdad is doing a great job. We've got a number of American troops that are still there, helping to ensure Iraq's security, but also help to ensure the safety and stability of the region.
And finally, I want to ask you about something that has been in the press quite a lot lately, and that, of course, is the United States decision to pull troops out of Syria. One of the main factors in this decision has been not just the Turkish government, but also the Russian government. When you take a step back and you look at the future of Iran and the ability of the United States to really get through to that administration, get through to that government, many have suggested that the best way to do that is to work through your partner in Turkey or through Russia as well. How do you anticipate the United States is going to use that kind of strategy going forward?
Our mission has not changed in Syria. Our troops are going to be leaving, but as the president said, it is going to be deliberate and prudent. But we are going to continue to crush ISIS. We will ensure that they cannot reemerge. And so the mission has not changed at all. Our special envoy for Syria, Jim Jeffrey, has been in Turkey. He's going to be joining us on the rest of the trip with the secretary to ensure that we achieve an irreversible political process, new constitution, elections, and we are going to continue working with Israel, with the UAE, with Saudi, to deter Iran. Iran has ambitions, of course, in Syria, but they are trying to create a Shia corridor of control that stretches from Lebanon to Iraq, Syria, Yemen, Bahrain, and we're working with all of our partners, a lot of it's burden sharing, to ensure that Iran is not able to achieve the regional hegemony that it seeks.
And finally, what would you say to those, many of whom are in this region, who tell me that the idea that Iran will one day leave Syria completely is just not something that's even conceivable? How do you respond to that?
Well, we don't listen to the counsel of defeatism. If we always listen to our critics, we wouldn't be getting very far in foreign policy. And so we have diplomats there who have a lot of leverage. We still maintain a very significant presence in the Gulf, both our military, our diplomats. The mission has not changed at all. There's plenty of ways to accomplish the mission, and we're going to stay very hard at it, I promise you.